Okay, now that you've conditioned your legs in a wrestling stance and you know at least one basic takedown, you know what you're aiming for, okay? So let's talk about actions and reactions from our stance. Even if you don't have a wide grappling knowledge or a wide array of takedowns in your arsenal yet, working on these actions and reactions will develop neural pathways in your brain and develop muscle motion and movement, so when you go to learn other takedowns, they will come more easily. There's real value to doing stance and motion work. It's wrestling's equivalent to shadow boxing. The basic movements of your actions and reactions from your stance, the drop step, the sprawl, the head position block, and the down block with your hands. One of the most basic foundational movements in all of wrestling and grappling is your penetration step or your drop step. I'm stepping deep, closing the distance between my partner and I, and then my knee is driving down to the ground. My chest stays over my lead leg knee. This allows me to cover distance at a very low, safe angle, getting underneath his head-hands defense. So if he's in a good stance, I need to get underneath, I need to get low, right? And my drop step helps me achieve that. I step, my knee is over, my chest is over my knee, my elbows are in, my knee's gonna drive down between his legs, and then my chest comes up. Head up, hips in, back straight. You're gonna hear that on every single technique video about shooting. Head up, hips in, back straight, right? So how we drill this, if you're just doing stance and motion, stay down low stance, step forward, center line. Down in stance, step forward, center line. Knee goes down over my toe. Then I repeat the process with my other leg, and you get this marching motion where you're just going back and forth. Start coordinating your arms now with the movement. Act as if there's someone in front of you. So as my knee drives over my toe and it's about to hit the ground, that's about when I would be pulling my hands or pulling his legs in towards my body. My head would come up, and I can repeat the motion with the other leg. And you can get in a nice long field, you can get on the carpet inside, maybe get some knee pads, go slow, wear some sweatpants if you're stuck inside, and just go slow, right? You wanna get very, very comfortable with this drop step. If you're a BJJ guy, it's a lot like shrimping. It's one of the most foundational movements you're gonna find yourself using again and again and again in many different takedowns. So if you want to get proficient at your takedowns, get better at your takedowns, just mastering or getting better at this movement, the drop step is going to greatly increase your chances and your success rate in your takedowns. Now, what's the defensive equivalent to our drop step? That would be our sprawl. So if our partner is using a drop step to shoot at our legs, how do we defend that? A sprawl, right? So Alex is taking a deep step, his knee's going over his toe, he's doing a good drop step, and he's already to my legs. What I have to do here is sprawl. 3 things have to happen. My legs have to go back, my hips have to go in, and his head has to go down. Okay, I have to get my hands on him. If we were facing camera here, I push on the top of his head, my feet go back, and my hips go in. Let's turn this way. To here. My hips go in, okay? I'm fighting pressure with pressure. If I don't push my hips in and he's driving through and I simply just push here and try to get my legs back but my hips don't come in, he's eventually gonna catch up to me, okay? I have to meet pressure with pressure. So as soon as he gets in, I hip in, legs back, head down, get in your front headlock, just stuff to shot. Put your laces on the mat. Even if you're not wearing shoes, you know where your laces would be. Put your laces on the mat, right? If my toes are on the mat, and then I'm putting a post here for him to drive into, right? I wanna slide. If he starts driving at all, I wanna slide. And that'll also help position my hips to push in more. High-level wrestlers, though, know that there's an additional layer of defense, actually 2 layers of additional defense before you actually sprawl. It's your head defense and hands defense. What you want to think about is keeping your head level just a ½ inch below his at all times. Then he has to pass through your line of vision just to get to your legs. So what do I mean by that? We're in a stance facing each other. and we're even, he can slip underneath me. I just keep my eye line a ½ inch underneath his. So when he goes to shoot, he passes through my eye line and I can just meet him with my head, right? And I don't even have to sprawl. I save a lot of energy. I keep him at bay without ever having to use macro movements, okay? So what does that look like? If you've never done this before, go very, very slow, okay? Have your partner take a slow shot and then catch your head in the nook of his shoulder and neck, right here. So we're in a good stance, partner takes a slow shot, I match it, right? And he never closes the distance. He will always be spine length distance away from my legs and hips. Now, what happens if he beats my head position? He gets underneath my head and he's shooting in my hips, so we sprawl. Then, no, we actually have another line of defense. That's your hands defense. So partner beats my head, he gets underneath, and I'm actually gonna down block from here. That's another reason why we keep our elbows in our shot, and then I can pull him up. Down blocking not only stops his shot, but allows me to stay in good position so I can immediately shoot. One of the best times to shoot is right after your opponent's shot. It's called a re-shot. So Alex shoots, I keep my hands inside, I catch him here, I pull him up. That's one of the best times for me to shoot. So if you want to practice down blocking, right, get a partner and have them shoot a couple double legs at first, maybe a couple single legs if you know them, and then practice jutting your hands out. This is another reason why I tend to prefer the Oklahoma State style stance with my hands, keep my elbows tight to my ribs so I can pop them out. I can actually punch. I feel like with the Iowa style, my hand's already extended, so I can't create any force outward. But here, I can. So if he goes to shoot, I can punch. I can meet that pressure with my own pressure, okay? So practice this a couple times. If he's gonna hit a sweep single, all I have to do is punch with one arm. We're here, Alex is hitting his sweep, right? He's pulling to here, I can punch to this side. If he's hitting a high crotch, so he's grabbing a collar tie here, and then his hand's coming inside, I down block here. And you want to generally think about stepping the leg that they're attacking away. All right, if they're attacking both legs on a double leg, that may look like this. There's going to be less movement generally here. If he's shooting in, right, you want to meet pressure with pressure on a double leg. If he's hitting a high crotch, I want to create as much distance between him and the leg he's attacking. So as he's collar tied, he's coming head inside, I can step my leg back as I down block, okay? And then when he goes to hit a sweep single with a collar tie, he's going to hit a sweep. I do the same thing to the other side. I step the leg back with my down block. Thanks, Alex. So when I go to hit this with my stance in motion, this is what it looks like. Now I have to visualize this without a partner. I'm in a stance, he's going to hit a double leg. I can down block, down block. I envision my partner is going to hit a sweep. I down block, pivoting on my lead leg. If he's hitting that high crotch, the head outside single on my lead leg, I'm gonna cross, and my trail leg becomes the pivot leg. He's attacking lead leg, down block, pivot. Down block, pivot. Down block, pivot. Now let's tie them all together. Set a timer for about 2, maybe 3 minutes, depending on where your conditioning's at. And in your head, start rotating through all of your actions and reactions in your stance. I envision my partner gets past my head, hands defense. I have to sprawl. Come up. I reach, shoot. Down block, sprawl, shoot. Sprawl. Again and again and again. See how active you can get in that 2 or 3 minute period. Timer goes off, stop, catch your breath. Repeat it 2 to 3 times. Just do this for 6 to 10 minutes, right? It's gonna be plenty of a cardiovascular workout. And not only that, instead of just jogging, you're developing your motion. You're developing your action reactions for grappling, for an actual skill, okay? So this encompasses the actions and the basic actions and reactions from a wrestling perspective, from a wrestling stance. So like I said previously, guys, start a timer and try to go for 3 2-minute periods, getting as intense as you can in those periods. If this is your first time doing actions and reactions from a shot, be reasonable, do the best that you can, staying disciplined low in your stance position being of primary importance, and then achieving your actions and reactions from that position. Track how you're doing. You know, if you could only get 30 seconds the first day, aim for 40 seconds the second day. If you could get 2 minutes out the gate and that's too easy, maybe go for 3 minutes on your next go. Okay, so we're developing intensity and length in our drills over time, and that builds strength and conditioning that's applicable to wrestling and grappling.